Hey, what's going on? I have some bad news for you today. If you have a Facebook group that's related to health, and if you wanted to start a Facebook group that is related to health, Facebook has actually come out and actually said that they are banning health groups. Now, you and I, maybe you're watching this right now, are a natural health practitioner, and if you are, of course, maybe you followed my stuff for the last many years, and you know I've always tried to keep you up to date on the newest information in regards to Facebook, its changes, and unfortunately, in the natural health spectrum, we are on the outside looking in many times. So what happens is that Facebook, anything that goes against the mainstream version of things, Facebook typically has a problem with. And of course, you and I are intelligent to know that even when new research comes out, even in the medical journals, it's not widely accepted for 2, 5, 10 years sometimes. So I'd like to ask you, if you're watching this right now, and if you're a natural health practitioner, medical doctor, anyone that actually cares about freedom of speech and protecting your rights in your community, please tag a friend and share this with other holistic providers, because it's going to affect us all. Now, I'm going to give you 3 specific ways that you can actually overcome this and turn this challenge into something that will at least allow you to thrive potentially somewhere else, and or just ways to make you so you don't lose all your business and your people overnight. So this is important. My name is Matthew Loop, best-selling author of Social Media Made Me Rich. Here's how it can do the same for you. And my gosh, since 2005, back in the MySpace days, I've been helping chiropractors, acupuncturists, medical doctors, naturopaths, like a lot of people in the holistic spectrum, build their practices and businesses and create additional streams of income online like what I've done. But one of the things that I'm most proud of is being an advocate for the little guy or woman, meaning the small business, especially around this whole pandemic time. But going back to what I was saying earlier, Facebook has taken the initiative to basically say, okay, we are only going to accept health information from authorities, the typical authorities. Now, I've done other videos about this, about when you post on Facebook, don't post from certain websites that don't have credibility in the mainstream. And I say that not because I don't like those sites. A lot of those owners are my friends. However, if you post on your fan page and in the group from those same websites, those alternative health websites, Facebook will, number one, they could ban your advertising account. And number 2, they could shut your fan page down. This is happening all over the place. Facebook having an issue with health groups and health advice other than mainstream, that's not anything new. They're just being more proactive and shutting things down a lot faster now. So again, this is important. It concerns you. It concerns all of us. We are at a point in so many regards where there's a war on small business. It's us versus them, essentially. So really understand here. So the 3 things that you can do immediately if you have a health group. Some of my friends have health groups in the hundreds of thousands on Facebook. So the very first thing is to realize that never put all your eggs in one basket that you don't control. Facebook is rented space. I've said this for over a decade. And if you've done that, and if you've done pretty well, you've got great engagement in your group and you've built this community, if Facebook shuts you down, you are finished if you don't have a list outside of the social network. So what does that mean? That means that you need to get all of these members in the group on your email list, on your mailing list, on your SMS list, any and or all of the above, so you can actually keep in contact with them, so your income and your community is not dependent on this social network. Can we all agree that we need to have a list separate from Facebook? I think that most sane people would agree. So that's step number 1, is to get people off. Now, how do you do that? Well, you give something away for free in exchange for a name and an email. That's called an ethical bribe, and what I've taught in my books and my trainings in many places over the years. Essentially, you're giving people results in advance. You're creating goodwill in the community that you service, so they feel happy that they've received this information, and ultimately now you get a name and an email that is separate. You can use different types of platforms, like could be Constant Contact, Aweber, GetResponse, but I will caution you, there are some email management systems that are not as natural health friendly as other ones that have totally wiped out lists MailChimp is one of those. I mean, I'm sure there are other ones, and if you know any other ones that are not as natural health friendly, please post them down below right now. So that's the first thing, getting people off of Facebook in our group on a list that we control. That should be your number one priority right now. I hosted an event called the Social Media Revenue Summit a few weekends ago, and there's one slide that I have on my email list. I think at the time it was somewhere around like 81,000 people that were on this email list or these lists that I have, and I made the point, the same exact point, that this is my asset. And even though I do have an email management system, I will still download and back up this asset periodically because we don't control what they do the next day. However, I have my people that know, like, and trust me, and I can they can follow me wherever I need to, or I can start up with another server. So protect yourself and your asset. Your email list, your contact list is your number one asset. So if you haven't built your own subscriber list off of the social network, that's something to do now. Number two, the second thing that you can do to make this happen is you can use a program, for instance, like when you start running Facebook advertising, you're trying to reach a certain audience. Some of you may have done this, others may not have, but what you're able to do is you can use a program called Lead and Force. And I've used this for many years. There are probably many programs like this. But what it allows you to do is target your own Facebook group or many other Facebook groups with your content or with your ads. So going back to the getting people off of Facebook strategy onto an email list that you control, for instance, well, if you sometimes your organic engagement in your groups is going to be fantastic, and maybe you're getting 20, 50, 100 posts per day, and everyone's interacting, so you'll have a large percentage of people that see your content in those groups. But also a large amount of people are not going to see your content. So a tool like Lead and Force allows you to go back to target your people. It's integrated with Facebook. That way you can run a specific ethical bribe or piece of content to them so you know members of your group will actually see it. Unfortunately, the way Facebook targeting is set up right now, you can't just run a piece of content or boost a post or run an ad directly to your group to get them off. They don't allow you to do that. And so there's a need for third-party tools like a Lead and Force. I could care less what you use. It's just find a software program or a tool that does that specific thing. And the third thing that we need to talk about is diversifying your social media. So I personally, and I can speak from experience, I've dug very deep roots on Facebook over the years, like 62,000 or so Facebook fans that we've cultivated, built this community. Views have millions upon millions and millions of views, videos. So it's been very powerful for myself, my brand, and many of my clients. But I've also built on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, all these other channels because I understood that the reality is Facebook could shut us down tomorrow. I remember way back in the day, like 2006, when YouTube first started, of course, I started my account and I had like 3 other separate channels that I was just experimenting with new things on. And on one of those channels I might have did something about here's how to make an affiliate sale or whatever it was, like a make money type of thing. And for whatever reason, it went against YouTube's terms of service several years later. And that account got banned, which of course, just like totally tore off a section of our income. And that taught me very early on that you can't rely on other social platforms. So you have to diversify on other social media. I don't see social in general going away anytime soon. Let's say the feds get in there and they break Facebook up for a monopoly. Well, something else will give rise. And yeah, there are other platforms like Parler, Gab, and MeWe, all these things, but none of them has really taken and caught like super momentum to where, bam, you're shooting up to like 1 billion users. TikTok actually has done pretty darn close to that, but that's also on the verge of being banned here in the United States. So I hope I'm driving the point home to you that if you have a Facebook group, you're on borrowed time. You never want to just stay on a platform that you rent. It's got to be on your end, but there are tools and resources that we can use to get people off onto a list that we control and diversify. So hey, listen, if you like this message, and if you found it valuable, thumb it up, show me you're listening, and definitely tag somebody that you feel needs to hear this. I feel that we are all on borrowed time to some degree. if you're looking to diversify your traffic sources and you want to master social media and you want to really figure out, okay, well, how do I build on LinkedIn or how do I build on Instagram or YouTube, then I've got a separate training called Social Media Elite, very popular in the chiropractic and natural health community that would be very beneficial for you. It's applicable to any brick and mortar business essentially or natural health provider. And then you can always email me or send me a message on social. I'll be happy to answer your questions. But I can't stress this enough. You know, it was funny, this morning I saw it on CNBC. Facebook issues this notice that we're going to start banning health groups because they're not coming from trusted authorities. And it's, you know, this is one of those things that I don't like to be right about. And 9 times out of 10, when a trend is happening, I'm able to see the future on social media very easily. 5 or 10 years beforehand, I don't particularly like to be right about certain things. It's just, I have a gut feeling. So I've prepared, a lot of my clients have prepared. Hopefully you will prepare, since who knows what could happen tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in. Again, tag somebody you feel could benefit from this. And if you have any questions, let me know. But we're all on borrowed time, so do what you need to do to get your people, your community, your list onto a platform that you control so you can still build that following, deliver goodwill, and obviously do well financially. Hopefully you found some value out of this. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.